Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today we're going to be doing another itty bitty knit kit that I got from Five Below. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are going to be doing another itty bitty knit kit by viewer request. Today we're going to be working on Poppy. This one looks a little complicated. We'll see if it actually is. But let's turn this over and see what the kit has in here. So it comes with the stuffing, the knitting needles, the plastic needle, 2 spools of yarn, and the felt stickers for the face. Alright, so we're just going to open this up and remove everything inside. It comes with an instructional booklet. Here's the paper pouch. Here is the spools of yarn. Okay, and when you open this packet, you will find your knitting needles, the stuffing, the plastic needle, and the felt stickers for the face. Ooh, big face. Okay, so I'm going to put this back into the paper packet. Don't want that stuffing to get messy or dirty. Alright, so let's get straight into these instructions. It's very illustrated and it tells you how to do each kind of step by step. And then of course it comes with a handy dandy ruler. This is great to use, so you don't have to go and get a ruler. I have a ruler, but it's great that I don't have to go into my drawer to pull it out. Alright, so this instructional booklet, by the way, comes with a kit. This video is a supplement to the instructional booklet. So I am going to be going over new stitches at least 3 times, step by step, and thereafter I'm going to go my normal pace. If you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear me speak, you can lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. Okay, again, you guys, this is just a supplement, so if I don't show everything, I do recommend that you get this kit so that you can build this for yourself. Alright. So we're going to be, oh, this is going to be very interesting. Okay. So we've got to make about 4 rectangles. 2 of them are going to be the same size. 1 of them is going to be somewhat different. And then the last one is going to be striped. So that's where we're going to get a little crazy. Alright, so let's start with the white yarn here. I like to try to pull the yarn from the center of the spool. So what you want to do is, this is probably the outside of the yarn. You want to tuck that away. You don't want to accidentally use that. But you want to go in here and pull the insides out to find that other end. Sometimes you're able to find the other end fairly easy. Other times, like I do, I grab a big clump and it's a big clump, but I get the other end. So this way you can pull, like I'm pulling the yarn here, and it's not moving. It stays pretty stationary. It is light. It's a small spool of yarn, so you will have to at least weight it down with something so that you can pull. Alright. So what we're going to do is get the tail of, we're going to go right into this. We're going to get the tail. So I'm going to use this ruler here to measure out the length that we need to have for this first rectangle. And in case any of you are wondering, I have these nails on for Black Cat Appreciation Day. So I made cat claws. Alright, so you want to maintain that spot where we measured out. And you want to have the tail fall down like this. And you want the feeder yarn to be on top like this. It's going out of my frame here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our middle and ring finger and just hold this apart like that. Now this pinch, you want to make it tight. This one you want to make a little bit loose. So what we're going to do is take your two fingers here. We're going to lift up. We're going to twist down. And then we're going to grab the yarn with our index and middle. And we're going to pull the yarn through this large loop here. So now we have this large knot. What we want to do now is tighten this knot and move it close to our thumb. So pull on the yarn here and keep pushing this down until you can't push down any farther. And once you hit a stopping point, you can pull on your thumb and index on this side just to tighten up the knot a little bit more. You don't have to pull too tight. But next we're going to grip the knot right here. Don't pull on the tail. We're going to pull on the feeder yarn. You want to make this loop a little bit more manageable. So pull on the feeder yarn while holding the knot, and this loop is going to get smaller. You want to pull it small enough so it can fit the needle through it. So you want to grab your needle, slip it through. You can tighten it up if you want, but that's how you cast on with a slip knot. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is show you how to do a cast on with your hands versus a cast on with your needle. I prefer with your needle, but I'm going to show you how to do, let's cast on. This is 1. We're going to cast on 4 more to make 5, and I want to show you why I don't prefer this way, but you can do it if you're really struggling with the needle. So you're going to grab your feeder yarn like this with your 2 fingers. We're just going to twist it down to make a loop, and then you're going to just throw it up on the needle. And then you can pull the end like that. Again, take your 2 fingers, pull it up, turn it down, make a loop, and throw it onto your needle and pull it. Okay, 2 more. With your 2 fingers, pull up, turn it down, throw it up on the needle, make it tight. And now you have 4. Let's do 1 more. Pull up with your 2 fingers, turn it down to a loop, throw it up on the needle, and tighten it. And it's really that easy. I think that's the easier way. Now let me show you why I don't do it this way, but you can still, this is an okay way to do. I just don't prefer it. So I'll show you how to do a stitch after we cast on all our stitches. I just want to show you what happens when you use this so that you can decide if you want to do it this way, or what I'll show you next is the way to do it with your needle. Alright, so the reason why I don't like doing this is when you start to do your row and you do a knit stitch, it leaves like a huge gap, and I just don't like that because it just grows as you continue. And then when you get to the very end of your stitches, it just leaves this much. And then eventually, you know, there's a big loop here. As you see, it's like not uniform. It'll eventually blend, so it's not that big of a deal, but it bothers me, so I don't do it that way. So now let me show you how to do it with your knitting needle. This does take a little bit more work However, it does leave a really nice uniform stitching when you cast on. Okay, so to make our first cast on, you want to stick your second needle through the loop, and if it's too tight, loosen up the knot. But in my case, I don't need to do that. I'm going to slip the needle through the first loop here. Now, these itty bitty knit kits is simple into the fact that it only uses one stitch, which is the knit stitch. So after you do these projects, you'll be good with the knit stitch. So the knit stitch is how you start off is like this. So you want to take your two needles, and if you're a righty, you want to make an X, and you want the left needle to be on top, right needle to be on the bottom, like this. And you always want to keep them touching. Whatever it is you're doing, you always want to maintain contact. Okay, so this is your knitting stance. This is how you will start every time you start a knit stitch. Now your feeder yarn here, when we do a knit stitch, it's always going to go counterclockwise. So from back to forward, and we're going around just this back needle here. All right, so if you're doing a knit stitch, we're going counterclockwise, back to front, and then we're going to go just in front of this right needle and down. And you're going to hear it snap, feel it snap, but you want to maintain contact at all times. And your yarn will be like this, right? So from here, you want to slide your left needle down the right needle, over the tip, and back down, maintaining contact. Again, you always want to maintain contact, because when we slide this left needle over the right needle is going to force the feeder yarn through this loop, creating a new stitch. So let me show you that. Again, slide down your left hook over your right, and you see that we're maintaining contact, and the right needle is forcing the feeder yarn through this loop, creating a new one right here. So now that we have this new created loop, you just want to take the left needle and slip it into that new loop, and we're going to remove the right needle. So now you have two loops onto your left needle. So let's do this again. You want to start in your knitting stance by sticking your needle, your right needle, into the next loop that we have here. And you want to make an X with your needles, the left needle on top, the right needle in the bottom. Then with your feeder yarn, you're going to go counterclockwise back to forward, just in front of the right needle. And we're going to go down. You're going to feel a click or hear a click. Okay. So then it looks like this. Now you want to maintain contact at all times. See, it's touching. We're going to slide our left needle down the right needle, over the tip, and back down, maintaining contact at all times. This is going to force the right needle through that loop, pushing the feeder yarn through the loop, creating a new one. So now we just have to move this new stitch onto the left needle by sticking the left needle through that loop and removing the right needle. So now we have 3. Let's do this one more time, you guys. So stick your needle into the next loop here, go into your knitting stance, which is an X. You have your left needle in front, right needle in the bottom. You're going to take your feeder yarn and go counterclockwise back to front over the right needle and down, feeling a snap or hearing a snap. Then we're going to slide this left needle down the right needle over the tip and back down, and that is going to push the feeder yarn through this loop. So let's do that now. Right, and once we created this new stitch, we're going to throw it up on the left needle. So put your left needle in that stitch and then remove the right needle. All right, so if you're still with me, you should have 4 loops onto your crochet needle. What I'm going to do now is do the rest of the stitches that it requires. And here you can either pause, rewind. Again, you can slow down the video, but I'm just going to continue ahead and finish the rest of the stitches. And once I do that, we are going to start the next row. Okay, so now for the next row, what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing that we've done. We're going to stick our needle into the latest loop here, and we're going to go into our knitting stance. So right needle in the back, left needle in the front. We're going to take our feeder yarn and we're going to go counterclockwise from back to front, just around the right needle and down. You're going to hear a snap or feel a snap. Now from here, we're going to do the same thing that we did. We're going to slide the left needle down the right needle over the tip and back, maintaining contact so that needle pushes the feeder yarn through the loop like this. Now, instead of moving this stitch onto the left needle, we're going to remove this stitch off the left needle because we use this and we don't need it anymore. So slowly remove that loop off the left needle like that. So the number of stitches that you have on your left, you want to have the same number of stitches on your right. So right now we have 1 stitch here because we minused 1 stitch here. Alright, so let's do another one. Stick your hook into the next loop. Get into your knitting stance. We're going to go back to forward and down. Feel a snap or hear a snap. Then we're going to slide the left needle over the right needle. And now we have 2 loops onto our right needle. We're going to remove that loop we just used off the left needle. So you should have the same stitches all together. I'm going to show this to you one more time. Stick your needle into the next stitch. Get into your knitting stance. We're going to yarn over back to forward and down. You're going to hear a snap or feel a snap. Now we're going to slide the left needle over the right, pushing the feeder yarn through that loop, creating a new stitch. Then we're going to remove that used loop off the left needle like that. Alright, so now I'm just going to finish the rest of the stitches on this knitting needle, and then we're going to move on to the next row. So I'm going to just show you this, me doing this row, and then the instructions tell you how many rows you should make this square. That's always kind of like suggestive. So they also give you the dimension of this rectangle. So even though it says the number of rows, you always want to double check to see if your square measures the ruler measurement, because our stitches can always vary. Yours can be looser than mine or vice versa. So let's just watch me do this one row, and then I'll do the next one in silence. And the more that you do these, the faster you'll become. So I can do this pretty fast and not have to look at it when you get to that point. It's gonna be great. You know, it's something to do while you watch a movie or something. Alright, so I finished another round. So now what I didn't mention is that when we do the knitting, we have stitches on our left side, and we basically just knit till they're on our right side. That's how you know you're done with the row. To get it back, to start your next row, you just have to flip your needles. So now your right needle goes onto your left, and your left needle goes onto your right, and then you continue with your stitches. Alright, so there is a measurement given for the size of this rectangle, so I'm just going to keep knitting the rows until I make that measurement.
Hi guys, welcome back to the LGSC. I hope you all are doing well. So guys, as you can see, this is a collab video. So Miss Barbie Girl Nails 222 reached out. Barbie, aka Barbie, my girl Barbie. She reached out and asked if I would like to join in her birthday collab. So I was like, yeah, sure. And as you can see, it is a Gothic girl birthday collab or a Gothic birthday collab. So your interpretation of Gothic. So I did have to do a little research, guys, because you already know that is not my creative niche, nor is it my forte. But when my sisters call, I try to answer no matter what. So I went on ahead and went on Pinterest and I found a few things. I kind of went in and said, give me Gothic girl vibes. And I didn't look for nails or anything like that. I just wanted to get an image of what a goth girl kind of looked like, I guess. I don't know if I hit the mark. You guys will let me know. Barbie, if I didn't hit the mark, you will let me know. And your opinion is what really matters, okay? So I am going to be sharing with you guys clips, bits and pieces of how this process went. I'm not going to be able to give you guys a full process of the application because I didn't want to make this video super long and I'm already at an hour. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. And as you can see on the first clip, I showed you all Barbie Girl Nails YouTube channel. She also is over on Instagram, and she also is on, I wasn't on TikTok. I think she is on TikTok. I'm not sure. But I do know she's on Instagram, and I do know for sure she's on YouTube. So make sure you guys go over and give her a follow. Now, there are going to be a lot of ladies in this collab. I am not sure who all is in this collab because I think our instruction was to post between the 15th and the 23rd, which her birthday is the 23rd. And it's also because her birthday is a day after my husband's, but instead of her being a Leo, she actually brings in the Virgo. So she's Virgo.
Okay, so I've got to the size that it needs to be, and then we have to cast off, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And I like that we started out with these small squares because I can show you a lot quicker than having to wait for me to do the whole bigger ones and then show you how to cast off. So what we're going to do is you're going to stick your needle into this first stitch here. We are going to knit 2 of these, so knit 2, 1, 2. Now, what we're going to do is on this right needle, we're just going to pick up this first loop down here, and we're going to leapfrog it over the next one, and then we're going to leapfrog it off of the right needle. You want to keep that second loop there on the needle though. You don't want to lose that. So that's still there. And then we just let go with the left needle. All right, let's do this again. Stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to knit to get this onto the right needle like that. So now you have 2 loops. We're just going to leapfrog this one here over the next one and off our needles. So you have 1 left. Let's do this again. Stick your needle into the next stitch. We're going to knit a stitch, and then you're going to pick up this loop and leapfrog it over the next and off the needle, right? So you're going to keep doing this until you have 1 loop left on your right needle. Okay, and once you get to this point here, you just have to trim this down. I'm going to leave about 1 inch or so. All right, and then what you're going to do is we're going to yarn over. So yarn over with the feeder yarn. I'm going to hold it with my index and middle finger because I'm going to take this second needle and leapfrog this loop over the yarn over and off the needle. From here, you can pull the needle till the yarn's all the way out, tighten it up, and then we have our finished square. All right, so the second one I'm going to do off camera. We're going to come back in and we're going to start the next square. All right, so I have my 2 little squares. We're going to start the third one. So we're going to need to measure out the tail end first. Okay. And once we have that, I'm going to be doing the slip knot onto our needle. So you want to pinch this end here and keep it nice and tight. Then you want to take your ring and index and hold it apart like that. You can keep this a little loose. You're going to take your 2 fingers and go up. Then we're going to twist down. Then you're going to grab the feeder yarn with your index and middle finger and pull through the loop. So now you have this huge knot. We're going to push the knot towards the thumb, and you're going to push it down until you cannot push it down any longer. And once you hit that point, you can take your thumb and index and just pull out that tail yarn to make that knot nice and tight. You don't have to pull too hard. But I'm going to grab the knot and we're going to pull the feeder end to make the loop more manageable. And after we do that, I'm just going to stick a needle into the loop and we're going to cast on our stitches. So again, you can do it the hand method or the needle method. I prefer the needle method. So, and you're going to cast on the number of stitches it's asking you to do. And again, I like to do it this way because the stitches end up becoming more uniform and they don't tend to loosen up at the end of your row. All right, so now from here, we're going to do our next row, which is doing the same knit stitch, except instead of transferring that new stitch onto the left, we're just going to remove the loop on the right. And just keep doing this all the way down. Alright, so we're just going to keep doing these rows until we reached the required measurement. And then we're going to pop back in and we're going to do the last rectangle, which is definitely going to be more involved than these first three. All right, so let me just do one more row here, and then we're going to fasten off. And don't mind my speed, everyone. When you get used to how this works, like, your motor skills will kind of take over, and you'll be able to do this as fast as I'm doing, if not faster. All right, so I'm gonna show you again how to cast off. We're gonna knit 2 stitches here. Then I'm gonna leapfrog this stitch over the next one and off the right needle, off the left needle. Then I'm going to knit another stitch, because you always want 2 on the right side so that you can leapfrog this stitch over the next one, off the right and off the left. Right, knit another one. Again, we're going to leapfrog this stitch off the right needle and then off the left needle. So we're just going to keep doing that until you reach the end of the row. Okay, and then once we have the last one left on the hook, I'm going to take my scissor, cut about 1 inch or so. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull over that yarn over and pull through the loop. You can remove the left needle, pull all the way out, remove the right needle. Then we're going to tighten this up, and then we've made our next square. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. We're going to start off with our white yarn again. Let's get the tail. Okay, and once we have that, we are going to do our slip knot. Okay. Then we're going to tighten this knot towards our thumb. All right. So now we have to cast on the number of stitches with the white, and then we have to knit 2 more rows after that. So let's do that now. Again, you can cast on manually or with the needle, up to you. I like to do it this way. Okay, so now we're going to just check the number of stitches on here. Great. Okay, so then now we're going to do 2 more rows. So let's do that now. Oh, and that is the Dexter alarm. I have to feed his dinner. So I'm just going to finish this row up. Don't know if you can hear him in the background. Yes, I know. Alright, I will be right back, you guys. The boss is hollering. Alright, I'm back. Fed the beast. Okay, so I'm gonna do 1 more row. Alright, so now I have to switch to red. And to do that, I gotta get my red out. And this is a different kind of spool, so there's no helping that. No matter which end you grab, it's gonna pull and mess up everything, so you could roll it up into a ball. There's also equipment to make a spool so that it doesn't roll around, but I don't, you know, that's a little fancy for me. So anyway, what we have to do is do a slip knot without the needle. Well, we did do it without the needle, so this time we're going to take our ring finger, pinky, and thumb and hold one end, and then we're going to take our middle finger and index and hold the yarn apart. Make sure that this one is nice and tight, this one's a little bit loose. We're going to take our 2 fingers here, lift up, we're going to twist down, then we're going to grab the feed yarn through that loop, and we're going to pull the knot close to the thumb to where you cannot push it down any longer. And then we're going to pull this excess piece just a little bit to make that knot nice and taut. You don't have to pull it hard. Then I'm going to grab the knot and pull the feeder yarn so I can make this loop more manageable. And what we're going to do is knit this into place. So what we do is stick your needle into the next loop here. Rather than yarn over with the white, we're just going to yarn over with this slip knot. So put the red onto the right needle, and we're just going to continue to slide the left needle over the right, pushing that red through the loop, and then we're going to drop that white loop and we're going to move on. So you can leave this white alone because we will be transitioning back to white. Alright, so now we can continue the rest of the stitches doing our knit stitch with the red, and we're going to do 2 rows of this. So I'm going to do a few of these with you. They are going to be at normal pace because we have already done step by step the knit stitch. You can slow down the video here or pause it. We're just going to continue on this path here. Okay, and then after we do our 2 rows, we're going to transition to our white. So drop the red, we're going to pick up the white, stick your needle through the first loop here, and we're going to be knitting with the white. So just leave the red alone. Okay. And then we're going to do 2 rows of the white. So it says to keep alternating this, so we're just going to keep alternating this to the number of rows they indicate, and then we're going to go back in, and I'm going to fasten this off with you guys, and then we'll sew everything all together. But we're going to do this in silence. Let me just do one more row of this white. We'll transition back to red. So you see me transition to white, and then you're going to see me transition to red. Okay, I'm going to drop the white, pick up the red, all right. So we're just going to continue on with this in silence. Okay, so this is not the length that it's supposed to be. It's probably short, about an inch or so. This is all the white that I have left. I cannot do another, stripe, so I'm gonna tie this to the red. I don't know. I think this is just gonna be a smaller popcorn holder. But anyway, all right, so we're gonna tie this. I'm gonna make sure that the knot kind of lies on the not so pretty side. And this yarn is kind of slinky, so I'm gonna knot it about 3 times. And then I'm gonna end with red, and that's gonna be it for this. I'll remeasure it, see how much length I have, but this is like the 3rd kit in a row where I feel like I don't have enough material, so it's declining, you guys. I don't know if there was a kick in popularity with these kits, but the first 3 that I've done had more than enough, and it seems like as we're doing these more and more, the material I'm finding is not enough. So comment below, let me know what you think. Alright, so I don't even know if I have enough red to make the 2nd row on top of fastening off. So we're just going to fasten off here. Alright, so we're going to knit 2. And we're going to leapfrog this first stitch over the next, off the right needle, off the left needle. Then we're going to knit another stitch and then leapfrog this loop over the next, off the right and off the left needle. Knit another stitch, leapfrog this stitch over the next, off the right needle, off the left needle. I'm going to keep doing this until we have all the stitches off our needles, and hopefully I have enough. I'm not going to have enough. Man. I mean, if that's the case, I'm just going to pick up with this white that's still dangling here. I might need it for the last few stitches. So, I'm just going to tie the white to the red. It is what it is. Okay, and then I'm just going to pick up where I left off with the white. Okay. Tighten this up. And there we have our popcorn box. Let's see. So it's supposed to be, yeah, I'm missing about an inch. Well, thank you very much, Bright Stripes, for that. 1 or 2 rows, okay, but I am off by an inch, and that's not good. This is all the yarn I got, and that's not funny, because we're supposed to make a popcorn thing. So let's see if it works out. Alright, so now we're going to match the edges of this rectangle, and we're going to sew it closed in a tube. So I'm going to need this. And I have like no yarn to play with. I have, all the yarn is used up. So hopefully this will be enough. Okay, so now we're just going to make sure that this nicer side is facing out. So we're just going to line this up and sew stitch for stitch. Alright, so now it says that we have to sew the bottom of the tube together, and it kind of has it going this way. So we're going to sew it like this. And I'm going to come back this way. Okay, then I'm going to find a moment to tie a knot. And then I'm going to come in from the outside of the bottom here to the inside. I want to pull this out, and we're just going to tuck this in here. But it says now we have to take the white rectangle and fold it in half along the long side and stitch the two sides closed with the white yarn. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this in half. And I'm just going to jump ahead and see here. So this is one of those things that they don't tell you is going to end up like a cone. If you saw my Sublime video, they left it like this, where it really should be sewn folded to make a cone shape. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to indent this corner and sew it together like that, so that it ends up becoming a little arch. And again, I don't know why they didn't do that, because they did that for the Boba Buddy. Here they didn't, so then where this fold is, I'm going to sew that too, so that it keeps that fold. And then we're going to do the other side as well. Fold it again here. And I'm just going to put this needle through these few stitches and try not to pull it too tight, because we want this to be able to stretch and grow when we put our stuffing in there. But I am going to sew this fold together like I did the other side. Okay. Now we have to put the stuffing into the tub and place the white cap on top. And we have to reserve 2 small pinches of stuffing for the buns. So I'm going to set aside 2 little fluff balls here, and we're going to put the rest in this container. And then there's a little bit of fluff coming out because it's going to hit this cap here. So now we have to stitch around the cap, and we're going to use about the 3rd row to make a lip onto the cap. And it says we have to do straight stitches along the 75 inch, every 75 inches. So I guess you can just guesstimate that. Alright, then we're just gonna pop up on the 3rd row somewhere. That's not going very well. To try to line these up. I want my stitches to fall straight down, so not at an angle, but straight down, so you just have to line this up right. Okay, and back around. This looks horrible. I think there needs to be more stuffing in here, but maybe I could force this up. But I'm gonna go tie my knot. Alright, so now we have to stick on the eye and mouth stickers. So try to pick the side that looks the prettiest. I think I sewed this a little too short, but oh well. I'm gonna take my eyes out. Let's put the mouth on first. Okay, then we're gonna put the eyes down. Okay. Then we're gonna make the buns. We have 2 buns here. Maybe I'll be able to even this out. So, oh my goodness. We have to sew this micro tiny bun here. They want you to fold the corners in and sew them together. So, and they also want you to sew like the triangle part down. I don't know how this is gonna happen, but do the best you can. This is so tiny. I'm gonna put this in here and then try to sew it closed. figured out a ball. Then you just have to stick this on like a bun. And there's going to be 2 of them. So I'm going to sew this one on. And you just want to sew around the bun to secure it. Okay, once you're back around, tie your knot. And then I'm just going to go in here, come out through some random spot, and pull this through. And take my scissor, cut it, and then squish it. It'll make that end disappear in there. So I have the one bun. I'm going to do the other one. So we're going to fold the corners in, and I'm just going to sew the sides together. I'm just going to put the stuffing in here. And then I want to sew the remaining 2 sides together. Then we're going to sew this on. Okay. All right. Well, here's my popcorn. Comment below, let me know if you struggled. I did. Really bad. But we got it done. I think I see the problem though, because I think that this clearly looks different. This is definitely squatter. I did the number of stitches required that they asked for, and this is what it looks like. It looks like they halved it, you know, like that, by that much. So comment below, let me know how it went for you. But here is Poppy. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. I do have 3 more kits, so click on that notification bell so you don't miss a video. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.